The most successful retirees that I know, they track these four numbers. That's really it. We've been helping people retire for the last decade and a half. And these four numbers, these are the keys. I say these are the most important ones if we had to sum it up. And if you've been thinking about your retirement more lately, then you might realize that a lot of the things and some of the strategies and tactics and goals moving forward look a little bit different than what they were the last 30 years. The last 30 years, it was about savings rate. It was about investment allocation and going for maximum growth, maybe. And now from here on, it's more about withdrawal strategy, or maybe having a plan B, or maybe it's the things like, how do I just make sure I'm not going to pay more tax than I have to when I'm taking money out? And this can actually lead people to get confused. A lot of people think this is it. When we're talking about investment, retirement planning, it's about investments, but really what it really is about is all these different things. Now, that can lead people to believe there is a lot to manage, a lot to do. And that's true, but I want to bring it back to those four key numbers to just make sure that you stay on track. It's kind of like, what's the 80-20 here as we're thinking about what to track in retirement or leading up to retirement? What's the fewest amount of things we need to do in order to get the greatest result? So let's get into the first one. And you might not have had to track this the last 20 to 30 years of your working life. So it can be kind of hard to actually start tracking this one. I know a lot of our clients have trouble with this leading up to retirement, but I'll give you some easy tools and easy ways to do this so it doesn't take up too much time. This is actually something to start tracking as soon as possible as you're heading into retirement, because really the success of retirement hinges on this one number. And that is, you may have guessed it, is fixed costs. Now, you might not have been tracking this one over the last 30 years because you probably had more coming into the bank account than you did going out, right? You had a surplus each month. So you didn't really have to maybe count pennies every month and know where everything was going. But there's two problems with not knowing where things are going as you get into retirement. It's either going to be you overestimate, and this could lead to that quote that we hear a lot from clients or from people who are thinking about retirement. And they say, maybe I'll just work one more year. They're overestimating expenses. So, I think I need a little bit more, add to the top and just work one more year, save a little bit more. The other thing it could do is if you underestimate, well, that you can imagine leads to not a great first couple years if things are off when you actually start spending the retirement savings. And that can really hurt the plan success rate. So a few things as you're thinking about your fixed costs: housing, right? The mortgage or rent, utilities, even though those go up and down, we got to spend those each month. Insurance, right? Health insurance, home insurance, auto insurance, other transportation costs, groceries. These are the essentials. Even debt repayments. If you've got debt, you got to do that every month. And then there's other essential subscriptions or recurring purchases each month. And the reason why I'm stressing these fixed costs or essentials is because these are the things we need to live, right? The other side is the must, or this is the must-haves, and then there's also the want-to-haves, right? And when we're planning retirement, it's nice to differentiate those two. Have the wants, we want to do those, but we need to have the needs first. An example of the wants is, say, vacation expenses, or maybe it's eating out, right? We want to do those, and we can do those, but there's some leeway there. We can pull back if we need to, certain years or certain months, if it was if we needed to do that. It's not absolutely essential to surviving. Now, if you agree with this and you know you got to start tracking expenses a little closer as you're getting close to retirement, well, here's the easy way to do it so it doesn't take up too much time. You can either, personally, in the past, I've done it manually, but there's also things like automatic trackers like Monarch Money or YNAB, which is You Need a Budget. I believe that's an app. And then there's Tiller is another one. There's a few different ones out there that can track automatically. I know, well, Monarch can, where you can, it'll track all the expenses, and then it'll actually categorize it into, this is groceries, this was eating out, this is home expenses, and all of that. So it makes it easy at the end of the month to see where your money went, and then you can start to make decisions around that. The next number is one that I tell a recent subscriber who was wondering, if I could only track one number and I only had 5 minutes a month to dedicate to my finances, what is the most important number to track? Now, that's not really a fair question, but you might agree with my answer. So that thing that I told them is net worth. This is the big picture that gives you the full snapshot of your overall financial health. And it's nice when you track this over time, you kind of see where things are going, right? Hopefully they're moving in a positive direction, going up, but it's just a good quick snapshot to see where you're at. And just a refresher here, net worth, it's what you have, which is assets, and then minus what you owe, which is debt or liabilities. That's what net worth is. And again, you can use a lot of the online trackers and Monarch and things like that to track net worth from month to month. Personally, I like to do it manually. And here's kind of what it looks like when I'm doing it myself here. Again, simple scenario here, but we've got all of the assets over here, and it's a spreadsheet, and you've got all of the accounts here on the left side. And then each quarter, or if it's monthly, you can see, what the dollar amount is month to month. And then you see trends happening, or you see this account. Maybe there's something, this is acting different than everything else. It helps you dive in to say, okay, I need to focus on that for a minute and dive a little bit deeper. And doing that, that's helped me just get a better look, get a more detailed look to where we need to be and where we want to go. And this actually leads into the next number here. And as we get into that number, first, let me know if you like this kind of video by clicking the like or subscribe button, because that just helps me know what type of videos you want more of. So that would be really helpful. Now on to the third number to track, that's investment allocation. There's levels to tracking investment allocation here. And it can get pretty complex pretty quickly, but to keep it simple, I think just sticking to knowing what's cash, what's stocks, what's bonds in each one of the accounts. So if you went back to the net worth tracking, just knowing how each one is with stocks and cash and bonds, that gives you a little bit of a picture of what sort of risk you're taking on for each one of those accounts. And we've seen actually when we review people's retirement plans and investment plans, if they're working with an advisor, or usually with these ones here, a lot of times all the allocations are exactly the same. But there is a benefit to having, maybe the Roths are a little bit more aggressive if we're not using those for the longest period of time. Or maybe the 401k is going to be used first if there's a tax strategy to doing that. So maybe that's a little bit more conservative. So there's different strategies there. And I'll actually I'll give you a walkthrough of how to look at the allocation of each account pretty quickly using a free tool coming up. But let's get into the next most important number. And this is the one you don't hear about that often. And it is the years of safe money balance. So what does that mean? It's a way to look at your investments, not only by the risk that's being taken, but it's actually how to equate the risk into something that's more tangible to you, that's directly related to your retirement income plan. And that is income. And here's what I mean. Let me explain it a different way. So let's pretend it's the second year of your retirement and things are going great. You're taking out $5,000 per month, and that's sustainable and good. So you're taking out $60,000 per year. It's all moving along smoothly. But then we enter a bear market, and it's a longer than normal bear market. Well, if we can look at your investment allocation in this way, conservative, moderate, and growth assets. So all of the different accounts that you have, all of them have some amount of cash. Well, getting that total in here, and then all of them have some sort of bond allocation. Well, getting that total as well. And getting the conservative assets kind of lumped together, or viewing them in this way to see what the total is. And if we've got $180,000 in those safe money assets, if you were to say that, or conservative, more conservative than at least the stock allocation, then we can equate and look at how many years of safety money do we have. So we needed $60K a year. So we've got about 3 years worth of withdrawals. Just knowing that and looking at investments in a different way has brought peace of mind to clients. Actually, you've heard this story, maybe if you've seen another video. Client called me up March of 2020 and was really worried about what was going on. And she was watching all of the account balances just go down fast, right? And then we looked at her conservative bucket and we saw she had 7 years of withdrawals of investments in that safe money. And you could just feel the weight lifted off her shoulders. And she felt so much better after that. So when it comes to your allocation, understanding what's in each account, you can either work with a retirement specialist like the ones at Streamline, or you can check this video here on a free tool that gives you a little bit of a deeper dive into your own allocation if you like to do it yourself. It's actually minute 416 of that video. And then also, I put other videos here to make your retirement the best stage of life yet. So check those out, and then I'll see you in those videos. If this was helpful, please like it, and then I'll see you later. Take care.